On December 5th, 1948, in the evening, not far from Albuquerque, New Mexico, an Air Force pilot up in the air saw an object, a glowing greenish object going on a horizontal trajectory and just lift up and then level off and continue flying. He couldn't tell what this thing was. Not long after that, a commercial airline pilot saw an orange object moving in on a horizontal trajectory, turn green, and then drop off, seemingly toward the ground. This began the mystery of something known as the green fireballs, and it lasted for quite a while in New Mexico and the American Southwest for several years. It was the subject of a very high level of scientific and intelligence community investigation. And as far as we can tell, we have no explanation for it to this day. In fact, over the next few months, up until the spring of 1949, there were a total of 39 of these green fireball reports that were being made. And they continued through the rest of 1949 into the early 1950s. Now, let's get a little bit of context here. We're in the early stages of the Cold War. So naturally, a lot of these scientists and intelligence officials were wondering, are the Russians up to something? Are they probing our country and our sensitive installations? Of course, this is all by Los Alamos National Labs, which is where the United States developed most of its nuclear technology. Very sensitive area there. You don't want, random aircraft or spies flying over there, obviously. So the question was this Russian? And there was never any indication, frankly, that the Soviets, the Russians, were behind these green fireballs. Some of the most brilliant minds of the American national security establishment were really asking long, hard questions about this. One of them was Edward Teller. This is the man who is known as the father of the hydrogen bomb. Teller was of an extraordinarily high intellect, one of the most brilliant scientists that existed in the world at that time. And he was one of the people that was attending the meetings to try to figure this thing out. Another one was Dr. Lincoln La Paz. And La Paz was an astronomer who was one of the great pioneers of studying meteors, meteorites. La Paz was in New Mexico, working there. He was a longtime consultant to the United States Air Force, and La Paz was brought into this. And La Paz, in fact, had a couple of sightings of these green fireballs himself, one of which he had it painted by his wife. She did a nice job in doing a depiction of this. The thing is, what could these have been? Could they have been meteorites? Well, it seems no one really believed that they were meteorites. La Paz absolutely did not. And this is the guy who's the expert on meteors and meteorites, and he's saying, no, it's absolutely not that. But the thing is, these things were flying way too slow for any kind of meteorite. And they were of typically a horizontal trajectory. And then they would often be seen to maneuver. They would go left, they would cut right, they would go up, they would go down. How is that possible? And how is it that they're glowing? What's the mechanism by which they're doing the things that they do? No one really had any answer to this. But there is no conclusion that we're aware of that these were natural phenomena. So they seem to be artificial. And again, the question is, if they're artificial, who's making them and how?